Anytime now.
You're live, Melinda.
Hey, everybody. Melinda Russell here with Let's Talk Racing Live. I've got my co host here with me, Brett Timmerman. Brett's coming to us from Wapello, Iowa. I'm coming to you from Kalamazoo, Michigan. And we have our special guest tonight is Gabby Malone. And Gabby's had some really good results in the last several days. And so I reached out and asked if she'd like to be on our podcast. And with a little convincing, I think she agreed to say yes, that she would. So, Gabby, welcome to the show. And why don't we start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, we know your name, but where do you live? You know, do you have siblings, pets, that kind of thing, just so we can get to know you a little bit better?
I live in Oviedo, Florida, and I have a brother and a sister, and I have 5 dogs, 1 cow, 2 miniature donkeys, chickens, and I think that's it.
No cats?
No, oh, actually one cat, and then I have a pig.
Oh my gosh. So you must live on a farm or somewhat of a farm.
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up on a farm, so we have that in common, but my dad didn't really have livestock or anything, so that I can remember. He did way before I was born, but not after I was around. So we're both farm girls, Gabby. So you know, they can take the girl off the farm, but they can't take the farm out of the girl, and that's a good thing. So you remember that. So do you go to regular school or do you homeschool, virtual school?
I go to regular school.
Okay. All right. So do the kids at school know that you race?
Some of them, yeah.
And what do they think about that?
I don't know. I don't really talk about it.
Okay. And is that because they don't really, kids at school who don't race don't really understand it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I hear
But
that a lot.
It's a good thing to talk about it, though, because you might interest some other kids that want to get into racing.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that a lot from girls. Well, I mean, I don't interview really any boys, but the girls that I talk to, you know, that's what I hear pretty much is they don't really talk about it because boys tend to make fun of it, or, you know, and they just don't understand it. And so, you know, it's just something that you do on the weekends, and they don't, you know, if they're not involved in it, they don't get it. So that's a pretty typical answer, for sure. So what's your favorite school subject?
I don't have any.
No favorites?
School.
No favorites. Okay.
No.
Is that because you'd rather be racing than going to school, or is that just because?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's pretty normal too for kids. They'd rather be doing the racing stuff than going to school. So yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Brett.
Well, I don't think we found out how old you were, Gabby.
Oh,
I'm 13.
13? How long have you been racing?
Since I was like 9.
You started in the quarter midgets?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people on here that will be listening now and listening later that don't know what a quarter midget is. Can you explain to us what it is?
I not really.
so maybe Dad can explain a little bit.
Yeah, I guess what a quarter midget is it's just, you know, it's a quarter size of a midget car. It's one of the safest. I mean, to us, you know, as a parent, you know, we knew going into it that it was probably one of the safest things that we could put her in. We looked at go-karts and things like that, but, you know, a quarter midget is fully contained, and you're wearing a fire suit, you know, a harness, you know, gloves, like you're, you know, a 5-point restraint system, and you're really in the car good. And, you know, the kids, sometimes they do flip over, but, you know, they want to get pushed over and they want to get pushed right back off. So it's actually one of the safest sports, I feel, that, you know, she could be in.
Right. My granddaughter flipped over a couple of times, and caught on fire, and she didn't even know she was on fire when she raced quarter midgets. And so she never got hurt. I was always the one that was nervous about that, but she really never did. And it really is a good way to start, don't you think?
Mm.
Yes, agreed. We've been on fire before too, as well.
Yeah. So that sounds scary, but I mean, and it is, but yet again, all the precautions are there to not have any serious damage or get anybody hurt. And so that's the good thing about starting out with quarter midgets. So Dad, did you know anything about racing before Gabby got started? Or maybe I should ask Gabby, who was the one that encouraged you to get interested in racing?
Myself.
She did.
Okay. And so what caused that? How did you get interested? Did you go to a race, or what did you do?
Me and my dad watched a lot of NASCAR, and I wanted to race.
Okay. And do you have a track close by? Is that how you got started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she just came in one night and said, "I want to race," and I said, "Well, now you're talking."
Brett, you and Matt would have a lot in common, wouldn't you?
We would. Did you race before?
No, actually, I didn't. We've been, a NASCAR family, and we've been into it for quite some time. And she I took her to a race, and that's the one thing I can say. If you have kids, take them to a race. Mm-hmm. She got the fever, the bug, and then just decided one day that she wanted to race, and we were on from there. We contacted our local track here, New Smyrna Speedway. It's a bigger track. It's a bigger short track. And I knew that, of quarter midgets, and that's where, Ryan Blaney and a lot of other people had started. And I knew that. So I reached out to them, and they put us in touch with, our rookie director, Johnny Miller, at the time. And the rest is history, if you will.
It's funny because, I grew up in a racing family from the time I was born. My dad raced. My mom raced and was a track champion. And then we raced, and then I raced for 20 years. And one day my daughter, she went to the races when she was 6 weeks old and has been going every week since. One day she came up to me when she was 14 and decided she wanted to race. And as long as she's been going to the races, she did not understand what the flags were. When her first race, I just threw her out there and figured she knew. She didn't even know what the flags meant. It's if you take kids to the races, make sure that if they're wanting to get into it, that you explain everything.
Yeah, or find a good track that has a good, rookie director like we do, and they really got her to where she is. Definitely.
Yeah. Interesting. So Gabby, what's the thing you like most about driving a race car?
I like how it's really enjoyable, and it's not, and it's fast.
It's fast and it's not boring, is it? No. You have to be on your toes all the time to know what's going on around you and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the hardest thing that you have to do when you're driving the car?
Definitely learning how to set up your line and new tracks. Definitely.
Okay. So do you travel a lot, or do you go to the same track most of the time?
I travel a lot.
Okay. So what are some of the tracks that you go to?
I go to a quarter midget track in North Carolina, Alabama,
Georgia,
Nashville, and I think that's it.
And then the Florida, probably around Florida. Yeah. So what track do you go to in North Carolina?
Salisbury.
It's a track in Salisbury.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I wasn't sure if that was the track I was thinking of or not.
It's NCQMA.
Okay. All right. National Quarter Midget Association, for those of you that are not into quarter midgets.
Right. And she does run the Dixie series, so that's what that is. And we've done some national events like Daytona and things like that. But it's just, I feel like I wish she was 7 years old, because you can get into quarter midgets at 5.
Mhm.
And I kind of wish we would have, because there's a lot of kids that are that young,
Yeah.
and they can get to that caliber of national racing.
Right.
So we do a lot of the Dixie Series stuff, which is the Southeast, and we really enjoy that. We've done that since she was a rookie.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think we went to every one and Red Rookie, and we went to every track, we went to every race, every pre-region. I think we did more racing that year than we ever have since. But yeah, that we follow the Dixie Series and stuff like that. So we really like that series.
Okay, so if I wanted to know where she was going to be racing, if I looked up the Dixie Series, I could pretty much bet that she's going to be at one of those races.
Yep, Dixie Shootout Series.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So tell me, I know you went to Daytona and you had a pretty fun experience there. Do you want to tell me about what happened when you went to Daytona?
I got interviewed by Michael Waltrip.
Okay. And how did that come about?
My dad met him, actually.
Okay. And your dad said, I got a beautiful young daughter that you should interview.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I guess we were staying there in the infield, because you can take your RV and stay there.
Yeah.
And the one night, Michael Waltrip was walking around, and I don't know if he was fishing for a story, because he was, doing the Fox telecast stuff. And we were there during the actual Cup race. And he came in with the crew the next day, saw me, and said, "Where's Gabby?" So I said, "She's right here." So he started interviewing her, and they went live. And then, of course, during the interview, he said, "Who's your favorite driver?" And me, and she, out of the blue on her own, just said, "Hey, she said, can you introduce me to Kevin Harvick?" And I mean, you could hear everybody in the booth, was just dying laughing. And it was great. And then Delana actually saw it and came down and, sent their, Kevin's guy down and to grab us. And then she did get to meet him the next day. So ever since then, she's just a big Kevin Harvick fan. So
Okay.
it's kind of sad to see him go.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people sad to see him go. And I'm actually watching. By the way, Kyle Larson won the race, the NASCAR race.
Okay.
And I'm watching in the 4-car. It looks like he might have finished 4th or 5th, somewhere in there. So he didn't finish too bad, unless that was, they're showing me something different. But so one of my questions was going to be, who's your favorite NASCAR driver? So who's going to be your favorite driver once he retires?
Ryan Blaney.
Oh, that's a good choice. Yeah. I like Ryan, so that's a good choice. Good for you. Yeah.
We've seen a couple. I was flipping through your pictures about 20 minutes ago and seen you have some Kevin Harvick themes on your quarter midget, and your numbers on number 4. So automatically knew who your favorite driver was.
So what class do you race in quarter midgets? I know there's a lot of different classes. So
heavy Honda and heavy 160.
Okay. And is that the same car, or do you have more than one car?
I have 2 cars.
She's got a third one, but she's getting ready to run another class, which is World Formula, which is faster than the other 2. So Honda's kind of like the slower momentum, and then you move up to the 160, which is a little bigger motor. And then now when she moves into the World Formula, it's a Briggs & Stratton motor, so it's much bigger and faster.
Okay. All right. So one of our people that listens all the time says, Gabby, dirt or asphalt? Which one do you like to race on, and why?
I've never raced on dirt, so I can't really choose, because
Okay. So you're an asphalt girl.
Yeah.
And Adriana, Brett's daughter, she's a dirt girl. So yeah, I think once you get used to one, you probably would prefer it over the other one, just because that's what you're used to.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to give dirt a try?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you know Marion Franklin Henry?
Yeah.
Okay. She said, love you, Gabby.
Grandma.
That's Grandma. Hey, Grandma. I'm glad you're listening with us. So one of our other favorite drivers is Addison Rogers, and she calls herself Bad Addison Racing. So if you follow her, you already know what I'm going to say. But if you don't follow her, she's somebody you need to friend on Facebook, become friends with her, and follow, because she's funny. She's very mature for her age. And we always give Bad Addison a shout out. And she's on and she says, "Come to the dirt side." That sounds like what my daughters used to say when I had a Samsung phone, and they kept saying, "Come to the iPhone side, Mom." And so I finally caved and did that.
Yeah, we'd love to try it. I think it's just finding the right opportunity.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's a track in North Carolina called Millbridge.
Yeah.
Yep, and we just actually went there a couple weeks ago, and there are people there. SKE Chassis will rent a cart. I believe it's like $400 for the night. Plus, if you wreck it, you have to pay for the damages. But it's pretty cheap to go be able to, and they'll work with you on practice night if you show up early. They usually do a practice on the Monday. They race on Tuesday and Wednesdays most of the time. But so if you're ever looking, you can look up SKE Chassis, Kyle Beatty.
Oh yeah. We have some friends that actually moved up, and they've raced with them. Like the legend stuff.
Yep.
The legend
Okay.
stuff, and then someone else is doing a late model, I think, with them.
Well, there you go. You'll have a chance one day, I'm sure, to get up there and do that. So, tell me your car color. We know the number is 4. So what does your car look like, and how did you choose, those colors? And we know you chose the number 4 because of Kevin Harvick. So what color is your car?
It's black, white, and also a like reddish maroon color.
Okay. And did you pick those colors, or is that kind of how the car already came?
Oh, it's like Kevin Harvick's car because all my wraps are inspired by him.
Okay.
So yeah.
So she's
All
got
right.
the ream, the Jimmy Johns, and then the ream, the Jimmy Johns, and then of course the bush apple.
Oh yeah. The bush apple. That was one of my favorites. I like that one too. Yeah.
There's only so many you can do of them, and that they'll allow to do. So
Oh,
she
really?
she liked the apple, yeah, because then I'm sure it has something to do with kids and
Yeah.
alcohol and things. So
Oh, yeah, I'm
and
sure.
a lot of his cars are all alcohol cars. So
Yeah, they are. They are for
try
sure.
to pick the softer ones.
Yeah. That's for sure. So, Gabby, who helps you with your car?
Taylor Watson and Casey Watson.
Okay. And how do you know Taylor? Because I know who Taylor is.
She ended her career with quarter midgets when I started, and I don't really know how we met, but yeah.
And so she kind of mentors you a little bit for quarter midgets.
Yeah, she's my coach.
So what are some of the things that she teaches you how to do? Is it just about how to drive the car, or is it also like social media and interviews?
No, not really. It's like how to like set up my line at new tracks and to work on things too.
So what are some things she has you work on?
Normally my line and like trying to be not like hesitant and stuff, and like just go and just trust the car.
Okay.
That's hard to do. Trusting the car. A lot of drivers make mistakes of not trusting their car, and they go and enter the corners too early. And I coach a lot of since my daughter races, I try to push for the females. But there's a lot of younger girls that race dirt that do the same thing that my daughter did and made mistakes all the time. So I coach all of them, and they're improving because all you have to do is tell them, just trust your car. If you can trust it, we make them go fast. We know what they're going to do. If you trust us and your car, it's going to work.
Well, we got lucky from the beginning because Taylor's dad, Casey Watson, has been our crew chief since day one. So we kind of got the best of both worlds. I mean, some people don't necessarily have those. So I honestly don't know if she's ever been in a car that wasn't race ready or winning capable, because Casey Watson is just, the best with a quarter midget. Casey Watson and Bullet chassis are just the best. And then Taylor with her experience, and she's real easy with Gabby, and she's just taught her everything that she knows about development. So between the two of them, this girl's got a lot of confidence in the car. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's good.
It's just the experience that you can't teach.
Right. And the confidence. You can't teach confidence either.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure. So Little Bad Addison, she says, look down the track, calculate your next moves, and communicate with your team is key. That Little Bad Addison, she's a smart little cookie for sure. And so that's good advice, Addison. And then you're going to like this one because Taylor must be listening, Taylor Watson. And she said, love you, Gabs. And so thanks, Taylor, for being on with us and listening to the show tonight. We're glad to have you here. So what about marketing partners? You can't do this by yourself. And I see your dad had an MPI shirt on. And so tell me about some of your partners and what do they do for you? There, he's going to show the shirt off.
Bill Ray Nissan, MPI, HMS Motorsports, seatinserts.com, Baker Racing Engines.
Okay.
And Bullet chassis.
Okay. So those are some pretty big names in racing, aren't they? Yeah. And so did you reach out or is that your dad's job to reach out and get sponsors?
They kind of just did it on their own because they saw me and thought that they should I don't know, but
yeah, the Nissan, it was a friend of ours and he owns a car dealership locally, and he does so much for us, and he's more of a family friend than he is a sponsor. Okay. But he just really we owe a lot to him. We couldn't have done a lot of this without him.
Yeah.
And we met Max over at MPI, and they've supported us since day one, as far as sharing her stuff and giving us support, sending us obviously really cool shirts and hats and things like that. Yeah. Same with HMS Motorsports and over there in Mooresville, North Carolina. Yeah, they support us as well. Seat inserts, they do the seat insert molding. They support us as well, and we have a lot of good support.
Okay. And, it takes all that. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. You can't race or get very far on your own dollar most of the time, unless you're wealthy. And even at that, you don't want to spend your retirement necessarily either that you've worked for. And so those partners are so important, even if they just provide parts or pieces to what you need. It isn't always about the cash. I mean, the cash is great, but you need all those things and you need those people to help you. And so I know you wanted to give a shout out to them because you couldn't do this without all those people. Yeah,
absolutely.
So when you have a bad day at the racetrack, Gabby, what do you do?
I just try to learn from my mistakes and just just learn.
Today, do you want to talk about today's race?
Yeah, tell us about today.
I was first, and it was 5 to go, and I came up to 2 lap cars, and I passed one of them, and they're trying to pass each other, I guess, and I was hoping that I could pass both, and I went over the turtles, and we linked together, and I spun.
Okay. So you passed one, and then when you were trying to pass the other one, you spun or got spun out or whatever. So then what happens? You go to the back probably.
Yeah.
And then did you come back up through the other cars, and how did you finish?
I finished third.
Oh, not bad. Not bad. So that was a pretty good run considering you had to go to the back and start over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's been your best finish?
First win.
First. Yeah.
How many wins do you have? Do you know? I see a lot of trophies.
No.
We
I
don't.
don't really know.
We don't. I mean, we've like I said, if we'd have started when we were 5, we'd probably have many more. But yeah, she got a win in the lower class before she moved up last year, and I think we've had to spend many years getting to where we are. So we don't have a lot of the wins, but she went from the back to the middle, and now she's running up front. So we got podiums all last year, but it's a matter of getting it done, and obviously with Taylor and Casey helping her out, she's really gotten to where she is, and we're really starting to see her come alive. That's why it's a shame that we're not 9 years old again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's true, and yet at 13 she's a little more mature about some things that a
Correct.
9-year-old maybe wouldn't be.
Correct.
So in some ways you're probably ahead of the game, just the driving part. And it looks to me like, based on how she's been finishing and the trophies behind you, that she's a pretty good driver. Plus she's got some good people helping her. So maybe
Absolutely.
starting at how old were you when you started, Gabby? 10?
9 or 10.
9 or 10. So there's probably things that you could have learned if you just started when you were 5, but there's a lot of things that a 5-year-old on a racetrack just scares the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Because they really don't know what they're doing. All right.
Yeah, you're right. If we could take the maturity she has now and take it backwards, then yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely, for sure. Brett, do you have any other questions?
Let's tell the people listening where we can follow you on social media to watch your racing.
Gabby Malone Racing.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Instagram.
At Gabby Malone Racing is on Instagram, and then just Gabby Malone Racing on Facebook.
And it's Melone, not Malone like we normally would spell it.
Like an A, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's spelled with an E.
Right. So you can find her on there. You can find lots of pictures of her car and her inner car and her with different fans and things.
Do you guys sell t-shirts?
Yes.
Where can we buy them at?
I don't know.
Well, we just rebranded the logo there with we just redid the logo, so we're working on a lot of that, but we'll have them up soon.
Okay. So on Facebook, you'd have a link.
Yeah. Make sure you tag, send the link and tag Women's Motorsport Network.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That way, all the fans can, if they want to buy, they can support.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anytime you post, if you tag Women's Motorsports Network, that helps us follow you easier, because we follow so many people and we get so many messages and that. But if you tag us, then that runs you to the top, and then that helps us follow you better.
Yeah, because we follow a lot of women, and there's more out there. I don't know if you know how many women race, but I've only been involved with the Women's Motorsport Network for about a year, maybe a little longer, and
2 years.
It's crazy.
We need more.
Race.
We need more.
We do need more, but it is crazy the amount of. It's hard to keep up to what we do with all the women that race.
Oh, I can't keep up. And what's funny is that I get suggestions from people all the time. And sometimes it's people that I already know or I've already interviewed or whatever. But so many times I, run across a post where they had a banquet. And so I open up that page and I look at the banquet and I look for girls. And when I find names of girls, I write them down and I reach out to them. And that, honestly, that's a full-time job. And I'm way behind because I can't keep up with even just that. I wouldn't be able to do anything else. There's thousands of them. It's crazy. When I first started this, I thought, I thought, yeah, there's women in motorsports and there's a decent number, but I had no idea
Hmm.
how many there are, and especially in drag racing. Drag racing probably has the biggest numbers, although the others are growing, too. So
Yeah, it's like where we race, it's called English Creek Speedway, and it's one of our it's kind of like the Daytona dirt track, like the Daytona in the dirt track world of racing. So it's a high bank track, but we did a picture there 2 years ago with the Women's Motorsport Network, and there was probably 40 or 50 girls in that picture, probably
uh-huh.
40,
Yeah.
and they usually get about 100. So it was about almost half were girls that raced.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost half of the kids that were racing were girls that weekend when I was there. And that was the nationals. So they were from all over the United States. And we made such great friends, and we've had several of them on our show and that. And yeah, it's just amazing, like Gabby, she could fly under the radar, but if you're on social media, I'm probably going to find you somewhere along the line. So, Gabby, being a girl in motorsports, and you've been successful, or when you beat a boy, do they treat you any different? Are you still friends off the track? How does that go?
Both.
Okay. So are some boys get mad when you beat them, and other boys are still your friends? Or yeah, that's what I figured. So Brett has a saying that he likes for you to post. Tell her what that is, Brett.
So we're trying to make this become something pretty big, but we always hashtag making boys cry.
Okay.
It's on the back of our wing. Just says making boys cry. And if you ever want to hashtag it, feel free to. Like every time you post, hashtag it. You can help grow that
So
brand
it's
with
making
us.
MAKIN.
Yeah.
Yep.
Making boys cry.
Yep.
It's the same way Brett talks. Making.
Yeah, so it's like
Oh.
nobody wants to get beat by a girl, and some of those boys that we race go out there and they do whatever they can to get around her, but it's getting harder and harder with the experience she continues to pick up every race.
Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder for them to get her.
That's good.
One thing you don't want to let the boys do is push you around on the track like they do it to Adriana, my daughter. They'll kind of bully her, thinking, "Oh, she's a girl. I'm gonna get away with this." And Adriana used to let it happen, but this year, her attitude towards that has changed, and she's pushed back, and they don't mess with her on the track anymore.
Oh yeah, we've got one boy that does that, so we're gonna make a stand here.
Yeah.
After the race.
Yeah, for sure. Because, once you put that helmet on, it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. And so you're a race car driver, and you deserve the respect and everything that all the other, people on the track get. So for sure, you stand your ground, Gabby. Don't let them push you around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what is something about yourself or your driving that you would like to improve on?
I don't really have anything.
Okay, there's not something that
Honestly.
you're like, I don't pass very well when I'm doing this, or I'm not very good about posting on social media or anything at all. Okay.
No.
So who does your social media? Do you do it, or do your parents?
My parents do
Yeah. Okay. That's
One
good to
one
know.
thing that'll help you grow on social media is I used to manage Adriana's all the time. Now she's kind of taking it over. When she drops the ball, I still get on, but fans don't want to see the parents; they want to see the driver.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And they want to know more. They don't want to just see you racing. They want to see you. What are you eating at the track? What's your favorite meal at the track? Which I'm going to ask you that in a minute anyway. But, they want to see like, hey, I'm at Kalamazoo Speedway and they have the best, whatever it is, and that helps the track. It's giving the shout out to the track. you're on social media and then they feel like they're starting to get to know you personally, that's when you're going to take off. When they feel like, oh, there's Gabby, she's posted something I want to
Yeah.
watch, just like Bad Addison. We didn't know who she was. We ran across her on social media. We had her on the show. Now I follow her all the time because she's just great about posting and has cute little videos and pictures and stuff all the time. And so that will really help you and grow your brand, the Gabby Malone Racing brand. And the more you promote that, the more sponsors are going to reach out to see, and the better your racing's going to be. So, that's something that we tell everybody, don't we, Brett?
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely become personable with your fans, so that you feel more like family to them than just a driver. Might sound weird, but it definitely will help big time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So being a girl in racing, if you had a mom, and this, your parents or your mom can answer this too, because I know she's there. If you had somebody come up to you at the racetrack and said, hey, we've been watching your daughter race, do you think this is a good sport for girls to get into? What would be your advice for those parents?
I would say yes.
Yeah, definitely great sport to get into. It definitely builds a bond between you and your family. With the traveling, you make lifelong friends that you probably would have never met before. So yeah, definitely, helps a lot of kids, because even kids that, maybe don't excel at school as far as like friends go and that kind of thing, they can get on the track and take that out on the track. And
It's like you said, once you put the helmet on, it doesn't matter anybody else. It's you and your car.
Definitely, definitely think that it's great for kids' self-esteem as well. And then also just being good sportsmanship. You can go and beat your friend on the track, but still get out and say, good run or, good race or whatever. But yeah, definitely a good sport to be in.
Yeah. And, the whole building relationships. I mean, I didn't know anything about Brett Timmerman 2 years ago. And it was about 2 years ago, right this time of year, he reached out to me, or I reached out to him. I don't know which it was. Oh, Lori. I think Lori connected us. Our friend, we have a mutual friend.
I reached out to you on the magazine.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. And then we realized we had a mutual friend. But now he's become like family. He and his daughter and son and his wife, they're like family to me. And that's the thing about this sport, is that no matter if you're the driver, the dad, the crew chief, whatever you might do in the sport, you become family with all those people. And yes, you can be competitive, but you still have those relationships off the track. And if somebody needed some help, you'd be the first one there, or they'd be the first one to help you. And to me, that's the biggest benefit from motorsports that any person can get. It's not about those trophies behind her. It's not about how many t-shirts can you sell or any of those things. Because if racing shut down tomorrow, we'd still have those friendships, even if we didn't see them every week or every few weeks at the racetrack. Brett's going to be my friend for life. He just is. And so I like hearing that Rachel, mom, said, about the families and that, because that is so, so important. And it's not something that when your kid plays softball and they graduate high school, unless they go on to college, you don't see those parents anymore, or very much. And so, racing is a lifelong, it's kind of like golf. If you take up golf, you can play it till you're 90 or older. Maybe don't want you on the racetrack when you're 90, but you might be doing something at the racetrack, right? You don't have to be the driver. And so that's that. I'm glad you answered the question with my favorite answer, and that's the people that you meet.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, racing, the interaction you get, it's just like astonishing to me. Like one week we got in a wreck with a kid, Adriana did, and the dad chewed my daughter's butt, and we got into a huge fight, and it was not good. And then the next week, my daughter got into a nasty rollover. We couldn't get her cart fixed, but he came over as my enemy and asked me what we needed to get her cart going, and we became lifelong friends after that.
Mhm.
I mean, it's that's you don't find that in any other sport.
No.
That's what's awesome about racing.
And we've done
Well, and
the
I
other-
think the other thing about racing too is, Brett, that if you're racing a series like Gabby, you see the same people race after race. You know, it's not like you're playing softball or football or whatever against this team, and then the next week it's a different team.
That's true.
You're competing against pretty much the same people all the time, and so that's a whole different dynamic than what any other sport has, because I don't know of any other sport where that would be the same thing. And
Correct.
so those things are just, to me, there's, you know, I'm biased for sure, but there's no sport as good as motorsports for sure.
Not at all.
And motorsports bring you connections. Like
Mm-hmm.
just here recently, I had a good job, didn't want to change jobs. I met a guy last year at our St. Louis indoor race, and I've only talked to him probably 2 or 3 times, but he loved me so much. He called me and offered me a job in the 3D printing world that I knew nothing about. And I'm a traveling 3D printer repairman, all because I met somebody at the races.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. The
So
connections you make are too, just, you know, like you've got MPI, so that's a big company, and being able to connect with them, you know, really on a first name basis, that's pretty unusual for, you know, 13-year-old girl that's racing quarter midgets. So it's all about, you know, my dad used to say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I should have that stenciled on my wall because it's so true. It's
It
so
is.
true. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So what are your goals, Gabby, for the future? You can't drive a quarter midget forever.
I want to start trying to race like late models or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Move up to maybe a front wheel drive, a street stock, a late model, something in that area. Yeah. Yeah, that's a natural progression, I would think, for you to be able to do that. And Florida has plenty of tracks
Mhm.
for those kind of races. So
Absolutely.
I would think that, yeah, you'd be able to do that.
I wish we lived in Mooresville, but you know that's all right.
Well, they sell houses there.
Yeah, we contemplated it many times. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's been on our plate too. My daughter is pushing super hard to get to Mooresville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of those opportunities are and things like that. So
They
But we-
are. And especially if you want to do like some kind of internship or something, you know, that's that's the place to do it. And it just takes one good connection. You know, when you listen to some of these drivers tell their stories, how they moved to North Carolina with a suitcase and $100, and they slept on somebody's couch, and now they're racing the Cup Series. I mean, there's a lot. Martin Truex comes to mind for sure. Is
absolutely.
one, you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
and there's a lot of them. And so I'm not trying to get you to move, but I'm just saying, you know, you've got to kind of, if you're serious about it, you've kind of got to go that route almost.
Like my wife says, you know, wherever the opportunities lie, and you know,
Right.
we're still racing. So as a dad, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Now you're up, Gabby. Do your brother and sister, do they like racing or no? And are they older or younger?
They're older.
They're older. Okay. All right. So, you know, you could move probably with your folks if that's what you decided to do, but I will tell you that the traffic in the Charlotte area is some of the worst I've ever driven through, so you might want to think that over a little bit, or go there for a week or two and see if that's really what you want to do.
Yeah,
Because
it
it's
is
really
bad.
bad.
it is. Well, we love it up there. We go up there even when we're not racing.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time in that area.
Well, there you go. So you already know that for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I got
for
lucky.
sure.
I got to avoid the traffic. We just flew into an airport real close, and
You're spoiled. His boss has an airplane, so he's spoiled. So there you
Oh.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we raced North Carolina. We had a job at a NASCAR shop there that has one of our printers. I'm not allowed to say their name, but we had a job there. So, pretty big team, and he's a racing guy. So he's like, hey, I'm flying out to work on this machine if you want to work on it, and we can take your daughter and we can find a car for her to race. So that's what we did.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's the kind of boss that everybody needs if they're into racing, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
She needs one like that.
Yeah, there you go, for sure. Well, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So there you go.
Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to talk to people at the racetrack. I talk to I walk around the pits, and it drives my wife nuts because I'm never at our pits unless I'm working on stuff. But I always go around and talk to people because you never know who's watching you, who's gonna pick you up, you just never know. Like I'm friends with, I have 5,000 friends on Facebook, and I'm pretty sure I know about probably 4,500 of them personally.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, as you can tell, Brett doesn't know a stranger. You know,
Yeah.
he really doesn't. He can, the first time you meet him, he's your friend. And so that's just how that goes. So, Gabby, I'm going to ask you some questions that deserve really short, quick, I'm not going to think about it kind of answers. Like, what are your favorites? And so I don't want to hear I don't know. You can say I don't have one, but you can't say I don't know. So are you ready? This is
Yeah.
like the speed round, like when you see game shows, this is kind of the speed round. Okay, you ready? What's your favorite food? Food or restaurant?
Oh, restaurant. I would have to say Carrabba's.
Oh, good choice. What's your favorite color?
Pink.
What's your favorite animal?
A dog.
I was going to say, you got 5 dogs. You better say dog.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place that you've been on vacation or someplace you'd really like to go?
A place that I'd really like to go is New York.
Okay. That's
Maybe
a
you
good
can hook
choice.
up with Bad Addison.
There you go. There you go. What's your favorite candy?
Sour Patch Kids.
Oh my gosh. So many kids say that. I do not like that candy, but so many girls say that for their favorite. Do you have a favorite racetrack?
I do not.
Okay. How about a favorite musician or style of music?
I like you mean like artists?
Like
Or,
a
Country,
certain
rap, hip hop.
or country rap. Yeah.
rap.
Oh, you just that was the wrong answer for Mama.
Not for me. I like rap. I listen to everything.
Do you know what I tell? So rap kind of came out when my oldest kids were maybe like teenagers or so. And so they're in their 40s now, but you know what I called it when it came out? And if I was in the car, you couldn't listen to it. I called it, and still do, rap crap, because I don't like it. So there you go.
It was more real back then, though.
It was a little more real back then.
Now it's all
Yeah.
mainstream, and I don't even understand what they're saying. But
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. Do you have a favorite sports team outside of racing?
I don't really know what.
Do you watch sports outside of racing or not really?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay. So like today I had the women's basketball championship on my phone, and I had the NASCAR race on my TV, and I was watching both, and I was cheering for Iowa, and they fell apart and they got beat. So
The refs won.
the refs were terrible, but we won't go into that on here. It's kind of like some of those guys that you run your car through tech and they nitpick all the little stuff. So anyway, okay. How about a favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Mine too. Do you watch television? Do you have a favorite TV show?
Yeah. I do. The Vampire Diaries.
Oh yeah. Popular show. And what's your favorite thing to celebrate?
Mardi Gras, I would say.
Oh, Mardi
Yeah.
Gras. I haven't ever had anybody say that. That's interesting.
Well, her mother was born in New Orleans, so we go
Oh,
quite a bit.
okay.
Her aunt and uncle are there, so we go up there quite a bit. We were just up there for spring break too.
Okay, so that's why, because you've been exposed to that. A lot of kids probably haven't ever been there, so they have no idea what that's all
Yeah.
about.
But
I've been there.
I've never been to like a real like Mardi Gras, but like I've seen like parades like in New Orleans, but like not
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you're being exposed to some things for things to celebrate. Most kids say birthday. So good. I was glad to hear that.
She's
So, Gabby, is there anything that I haven't asked you about or that Brett hasn't asked you about that we should have talked about? And maybe your mom and dad would have some input on that. Any cool stories, fan stories, anything at all that we haven't hit on that people should know about Gabby Malone?
Oh, I actually play some basketball. Actually,
Okay.
I'm on a team at my school, so.
Okay. Good. Are you tall? I can't really tell. You're sitting down.
No, not
You're not
really.
tall? Okay.
Not really.
No. Okay. That's good. That's one of my favorite sports. I love college basketball, men's and women's. So that's good. Good
Yeah.
for you. You're a well-rounded person for sure. So, hey, mom and dad, anybody, Brett, is there anything else we should have talked to Gabby about or ask her about?
Gabby, do you have a favorite female racer that you look up to? I guess you said Taylor. Is there
Yeah,
anybody else?
I don't really. I don't know. Maybe like Haley Deegan, but I don't really like.
Yeah.
know.
Have you ever gotten to meet her?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good. Yeah. Good. She did pretty good in the race the other night. She got 6th.
She did.
Okay.
Yeah. Finally, she was able to finish and get a good finish. So the truck race was, yeah, I was a little bit, I don't want to say emotional really, but I kind of had a lump in my throat when Carson won because I've followed him since he was in quarter midgets like you, Gabby.
Quarter midget kid.
He was a huge quarter midget kid. They traveled everywhere under the sun for him. And besides all of that, he's just a great kid. And, you know, you say kid, well, he's still a kid. I'm in my 60s. But he just deserved that win so much. And he's just, I was so happy for him. And the fact that his mom was there, she's always pretty much there. His dad goes some and not some. And so, of course, you know, the kid's going to win when the parent's not there. That's always how it goes. That's when my granddaughters have won races. It's been the night that I haven't been there. So that's always how that goes.
Yeah, he didn't lift, that's for sure.
No, he did not. And good for him. I'm
like
proud.
Keep the foot in it.
Yeah, exactly. So any last words that anybody wants to share before we let Gabby go?
One thing we didn't bring up is Gabby why don't you talk to me and Melinda on the Women's Motorsport Network. You basically become our family. So one thing we like to tell anybody that we've interviewed or met that you're now part of a huge family. There's over 10,000 followers on here. Most of them will know you if they watch this video. So welcome to the family.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, if they just get over to her, you know, Facebook is just Gabby Malone Racing, and then obviously Instagram is at Gabby Malone Racing. MELOA.
Yeah. We will. And you know, you're 13 now. When we interview the next time, when you're 15 or 16, you know, you'll have all the answers and you won't have any I'm not sure, I don't knows, because as you get more in you know, ingrained into the racing, you'll have more interviews to do. And so we're going to be, of course, Michael Waltrip, Brett, he beat us. He interviewed her first. But as far as really doing a podcast or whatever, we can say we were the first that
Yeah,
found
definitely her first. You can tell she's a little
that's
shy.
okay. You know what?
But she's an outgoing lady. You know, like when we're off this, she can't. You know, she's passionate about what she
Yeah.
does. I mean, everything that she does, she's very outgoing. She loves to race. She just
Yeah.
loves to do it. So
That's
she,
why I say, as after you do one, then somebody else will ask you, and by the time we come around to you again, you're going to be an old pro at doing these interviews. And so that's just part of the learning process of being a driver. So if we can help you in that way, then that's one of the things that we want to do is help young girls learn how to be on a podcast, how to answer those questions, and how to promote their brand, because that's the big thing nowadays. You've got to promote your brand. And so, I don't have my women's motorsports shirts on. I always have a racing shirt on, but Brett's got his Adriana Timmerman Racing on. You've got, things to promote. So, you just learn gradually as you go what you have to do to promote your brand. And Johnny O'Neill says, he's one of our listeners. He says, driver and fan interaction is very important. Getting to put your name out there. So good luck, Gabby, in 2023 is what he said. So thank you, Johnny, for being on here and sharing that with Gabby. So Gabby, thank you so much for
You're welcome.
being on here with us short notice and letting us pick your brain. And
we followed you guys for some time, and we know Taylor was on. And then when I got the message, I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a pretty big deal. and we had just got home from the race, and she was laying down. I said, Gabby, you need to get up, and we need to do this. But,
yeah.
Obviously she was scared and intimidated, but, like I said, she is really outgoing. It's just, I think it was a little on the spot for her, but we appreciate you guys. And we know that this could help us, continue to keep doing what we do. Cause it is hard. It is hard to do this. You got everything else going on, and, heck, a right side set of quarter midget tires are $200 and they only last about one race. So
I know
it doesn't, so I think just exposure, is a good thing for her.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. And, the more that you share this with your sponsors and, your friends and family and ask them to share, you never know who might see this and who might say, hey, I want to support a young girl in racing in Florida. She's racing close to where my businesses are or whatever it might be. And so if we can help you in any way do that, that's what we want. We want girls to be able to race and be able to race as much as they want. My daughter just told me today that tires went up again, which we knew they were going to. For my granddaughter drives a street stock, and they're $700 a set. And so $700 a set. If you want to be competitive, you almost have to buy a set every time you go out to race.
Absolutely.
Because some of these people have more money than sense, or I don't know. And they buy tires every week. And, that's not something normally that is just a normal working family can do. So
it gets hard, but like I said, we've got a little bit of help, and our friends over there at Bill Ray Nissan, they've helped us out tremendously with that. But I mean, and we're about to run a third car, and if you figure it's for a left rear and two right side sets, that's almost $300 per race. So
right.
Times three, and sometimes like the left rears, they're making them last a little longer, so we can get a couple races out of those. But the right side sets, depending on what track you go to, like if you go north, there's concrete tracks that are a little better, and then the asphalt tracks, they treat the tires differently. So it just depends on where you're at, and it's it can get costly, absolutely. But if you want to win, you got to put tires on. So I mean, to this point, we've done everything we could to make that happen. So we just hope that we can continue to move forward with it.
Yeah.
But
well, Gabby,
we'll take help from wherever we can get it.
Exactly. And Gabby, we're proud to get to know you, and we're happy that we're going to be able to follow you. You make sure you tag us when you post results from your races and everything. And you and your parents definitely are part of our family now, the Women's Motorsports Network family. So thanks for being on with us tonight. I'm going to I'll leave you in the screen if you want, or you can remove yourself if you don't want to be part of the rest of our conversation, but you're welcome to stay. Normally, Brett and I just have a little catch up at the end on what you guys are doing, Brett, and that. And so had Adriana raced the last time We talked, yeah. She had already been, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't raced since last Sunday, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So my family, they're all down at M40, which is in Jones, Michigan, and they're practicing today. Maddie's going to get her car wrapped, I think, tomorrow. So hopefully we're going to be able to make some announcements about her partners and that we're excited about that. And then of course Easter is this coming Sunday, and then the Sunday after that they are actually going to be racing at M40. So I'll probably have to put my winter coat on and go down and sit on the bleachers and watch because I can't miss that. And it's her birthday. It's her 18th birthday. So I guess we'll have birthday party at the racetrack in 2 weeks. But yeah, I don't really have anything else. I want to encourage people that are listening to, tag us, hashtag Women's Motorsports Network, because I haven't been getting a lot of those, and I want to be able to kind of give you a shout out if you've won or if you've done something special during the week, over the weekend when you race, because I know some of you are already racing, in the Midwest where I'm at in Michigan. Next week's even really a little bit early to start racing, but it's a little chilly yet and that, but it won't be long. Everybody across the country is going to be racing, and so we want to try to keep track of some of you, give you a shout out when you've done well, or you don't have to win. You just have to have made progress, right, Brett? It's not all about the win. It's about
victory is like my thoughts on a victory is finishing a race and having fun and coming off the track happy.
Yeah. And I always told my son when he raced, a successful night is when you finish the race and the car is still in one piece. Because as one of the sponsors, I wanted that car in one piece more than I wanted a trophy. But
Gabby, don't be afraid. Like, your mom and dad can reach out to, we reached out to news stations and done news stories. Like, news is always looking for something. Like, they'll come and interview you, and you'll have a little, and that will help you get marketing partners. LinkedIn. Start a LinkedIn page, start following people that you want in your area that and
would be a good sponsor.
Yep. You just got to get on all these platforms to be able to find sponsors. And another just quick tip, Megan Meyer is a drag racer. She does marketing coaching basically, and a lot of people we are doing it, and a lot of people that I know are doing it, and it's helping them tremendously on finding big partners.
Yeah. She's very, very good, and she posts on Facebook, and you can get hooked up with her, and she posts a lot of stuff for free. You don't have to pay for her to be your coach. She's been on our podcast quite some time ago when she was still racing, and then she got married and had a baby, and now she's going back to racing a little bit. But yeah, absolutely, reach out to her.
Megan,
follow her.
Megan.
Megan Meyer.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, follow her for sure.
She is a good coach she's very successful in what she does.
Yeah, she is.
We like good coaches.
Yeah. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and the whole thing's been about penalties and how much money everybody had to pay and all this and that. And so the one thing I appreciate about some of the racing that we talk about and the people we interview is that there isn't any of that. They might get penalized during the race, but we don't have to wait 2 weeks to find out about it. And it doesn't cost you $100,000 or whatever it might be. And so I'm glad that some of that's over, and hopefully, we'll be hearing good things now out of racing and not all about the penalties. And, I just encourage other podcasters to interview more women on their shows, because there's a lot of really amazing and talented women out there that are not just drivers, that do all kinds of things in motorsports. And we support women who do a lot of things in motorsports, not just drivers.
Moms, all the moms are the big important part of it too. So
yeah, moms and grandmas and the people who fix the food and the drivers, the hauler drivers or the whoever it might be that gets you on that track, you know, they're all important and they all play a part. So, oops, somebody's dog's not happy. So, all right, Brett, do you
Well,
have
Gabby,
anything else going on?
Gabby, you survived an hour and 5 minutes of talking.
Listening. She did a lot of listening. I hope she did.
She'll probably will not stop talking about it once we log off. So
okay, well, that's all right. Good. I want to know how that goes after we log off. But we are just proud of you, Gabby, and we want you to have a really good season. And we're going to be following you. And you just never know where I might show up at a race. I threaten that all the time to people. So if I show up at a race, I'll make sure that I let you know I'm coming. So
please do.
Yeah. If anybody has any suggestions for people that they would like us to interview, reach out to Brett or I. We'd love to hear who you would like to hear from. And I'm working on my April schedule. So I'll be doing April and May here the next couple of days. So reach out to us. And, you know, as it's obvious, we're on Sunday nights now at 7 p.m. so that Brett can be part of it. And join us, share what we're doing. We're on, we have a YouTube page, you know, follow us on YouTube. And yeah, there you go. So anything else, you guys?
No, that's it. Thank you for the opportunity. This is great.
All right. Thank you, guys. And have a great season. When's your next race, Gabby, so I can keep up with you?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. The 16th of April.
Yeah. New Smyrna.
Okay. I've been to New Smyrna. So a couple of years ago when I went to Daytona, I went there to watch a race. So yeah, pretty fun place to go. Yep. Yeah. All right, Brett, where are you off to this week?
We have practice at one of our local tracks.
Okay.
Friday. Then we don't race. Our season starts April 20th, I think, somewhere in there.
Okay. And how about
we
your
race
job?
A lot of indoors, but
where are you headed for your job this week?
Back to Wisconsin, I believe. Then I think I'm going to Maryland and then maybe Florida. The following week.
All right. Well, have fun. Good thing he's got an airplane. So, all right, you guys have a great night. Kyle Larson won the cup race, everybody. If you didn't see it. And now the Lucas Oil is on and it's showing there was a lot of bad wrecks on there today. So I'm going to try to catch up with some of that. But I hope everybody has a good week. The magazine is in process for April. It'll be coming out soon. And hopefully we'll see you in the magazine soon too, Gabby. So have a good week, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Quick shout out to you. Quick shout out. Hold on. Quick shout out to Abby Gunter Racing. She's racing today at Mountain Creek in North Carolina. So she's a big follower of us, and I'm one of her coaches that I talk to her every week before she races. So just wanted to give her a quick shout out.
Okay. Good luck, Abby. Hope you had a good day. And
me too.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
See you guys.